blessed to be my... Hi, I'm holding the hand of a very special man in my life. My dear friend, Joe Giaquinto, who is a very multifaceted, fascinating gentleman. Did you hear that? I called you a gentleman today. I know.
I'm amazed.
Knocked your socks off. Today we have a really special show, and the crew here at LTV is just amazing. They helped Joe set up EVPs and some slides to show, and you'll be seeing images of people that have crossed over many, many years ago. I don't know if you have any dates or time.
I have some information on it.
Yeah. So I'm going to let Joe tell you how to get in touch with him at the beginning of the show and at the end. And if we have time, we're going to do something really special at the end. But before we go any further, Joe has been involved with Carrie Ann Flanagan Brodsky for how long?
2005.
Right. So doing his ghost investigations. And is this her last book?
Yes, it is. It's the one we're doing our book signings all this month
Right.
at various libraries in
So
Suffolk County.
you could check, Joe's going to give you his website and his information, that you could check his website and you'll know where he's going to be for book signings and also where he's going to be doing investigations, which are just absolutely amazing. And get in touch with him because you might want to go on some of these investigations with him. So, my precious friend, how do people get in touch with you?
They can go to www.joegmediumpi.com. And if you forget that website, just remember, think of Magnum PI.
Right.
So Joe G Medium. It was originally Joe G Medium, Joe G PI, Joe Giaquinto, paranormal investigator. And then when Carrie Ann and I investigated the Execution Rocks Lighthouse, what happened was the Nassau County PD decided to fly out with their helicopter to see what was going on at the lighthouse. We were up by the lens walking around the pulpit there. And, they came there circling around the lighthouse.
Who are these characters here?
You're right. And we were there with the Coast Guard, the Homeland Security boat and everything. But anyway, it was funny because I was smiling from ear to ear. And Carrie Ann turned to me and said, "Why are you so smiling? Why are you so happy?" I said, "I feel like I'm in an episode of Magnum PI."
That would have made your day.
So since I'm a medium and I'm a paranormal investigator, I thought Joe G Medium PI might be kind of cool. So that name stuck.
It is.
So it's a long-winded
And if
plug.
you can't remember all of that, contact me and I will direct you to Joe. So would you give us like a little bubble of an introduction of what you're going to be bringing to us today?
Sure. So one of the big things people are always interested in is communicating with people who passed.
Yeah.
Whether it's someone buys a house and it turns out to be haunted, or someone has a loved one who passed and they hope to get a sign, or they've gotten a sign, or they've heard a voice, or they've gotten some kind of message, and they're trying to figure out, is it real? Am I just imagining something? Do people continue on after physical death? So the answer is yes to all those. And there are very clever ways the way spirits are able to talk to us. There's a branch of science called ITC, which is this crazy long name. It's something like intertrans communications or something.
Okay.
I'm probably massacring that name, but basically it's the science of how spirits monkey with electronic devices and energy to be able to give signs to us, because they can't very well write a Post-it note.
Oh, stop.
I mean, if they did.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine the Post-it goes up in the air and then a pen, like an abacus telephone.
Scott turning my shower on.
They do things like, they do
Yes.
physical things, but generally it's very subtle.
Yes.
It's not pie plates flying around the room like you see in these movies.
No.
It's very subtle stuff. So today I'm going to show you some examples and talk about some messages that Carrie Ann, my partner, and I have gotten in our field work, just to demonstrate how they can use this technology to talk to us.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about a little bit more during the...
Could I ask you a question?
Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah,
So I know you also do spirit photography.
I do.
And I know that you also find different pieces of art, take pictures of them, and then clean them up. And there are messages, the artists and things that we've seen in shows that we've done in the past. So when they are trying to communicate with us, say, sitting down and say we were taking a picture of that camera there,
Mm-hmm.
and it just looks like a regular pedestal robot camera, but when you look at the photograph,
You see an orb.
it's an orb or you see an outline of a being. So is there a reason that we cannot see it with the naked eye and we only see it after we've either taken a film or a digital impression of it? Or is that
Well,
a ridiculous question?
No, it's a very good question. Actually, I could tell you that you can see those things with
Okay.
with your eye.
When you look with soft eyes, as I call them.
Yeah,
Is
it's
that
just
it?
sort of just kind of this blank, just like openness where you're not really focusing on.
Mhm.
Yeah. Oh, that's, I never heard of soft eyes. That's interesting.
Okay.
Yeah. Like I see orbs. In fact, I was talking to John earlier. We were in the break room, and I told him I saw an orb fly by
Yeah.
on the right side near the wall, because okay, now I'm getting somebody is touching me on
Touching
my
you.
yeah. I feel like little cold air, almost like little puffs of air, like someone's giving you little kisses.
Mm-hmm.
So someone's definitely here. I'm smelling perfume now.
All right, so we
Now
had
I'm
the
smelling-
man behind us before, and now
now
you
I'm
have a lady
smelling-
making coochie-coo with you.
And now I'm smelling a musty, it's like cigarette smoke or something. It's like stale cigarettes. So a couple people here. And yeah, so and I was talking to one of the people running the show here earlier, and
Right.
I picked up something from him. So this is how you get stuff.
Yeah.
And we all have this ability. There's no magic to this.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's just like anything. Some people sail boats, other people are prize fighters, other people play a musical instrument, other people just like to watch TV and watch Netflix all day, and that's all right. Everyone does something different, everyone enjoys something else.
Yeah.
And so we all have this intuitive ability. I always tell people, I say, this is my cliche, but I always say, we're spirits living in rent-a-car bodies.
Mm-hmm.
All right?
I steal that from you all
Right?
the time.
Yeah, no, feel
but I
free.
give you credit each and every
No,
time.
feel free. It just means that our spirit is our natural conscious self. Our even if our brain wasn't working, like we had dementia or we were in a coma
Yeah.
or something, the spirit's fine. It's just the brain can't communicate with this earthly plane. So so spirits, we are really spirits using this body temporarily.
Yeah.
And so we have this ability, all of us have this mediumistic ability to feel things, to sense things, to pick up information from other people that are here or people that have passed. It's just whether you choose to use it or not.
Right. And we all get that message in different ways. Our dear Diane de Blasi, who's crossed over, her ears used to get very hot and very red. Me, it's a variety of things similar to you. I get chills, sometimes I get nauseous, I get a smell or a sensation
Yeah.
in my body,
That's right.
you know, I believe I see something happen.
Yeah, and
You
and
know?
for our viewing audience, let's say that you've gone to house hunting or apartment hunting, and you go into some home, and it feels, wow, really great, what a loving place. This is, honey, we'd like to buy this house. This is it. This feels right. And other ones, you go in, it feels like someone just had a fight there, or it's cold or creepy.
We've talked about that.
Right.
Years ago when I bought a house with my ex-husband in Oceanside, we walked in and he felt, oh, this is great. And what I felt as if I was slammed up against the door and
Yeah.
something said, get out of here.
Yeah.
And that was right before I met you at the Institute.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we go back.
We go back. Yeah.
We both were in the American Society for Psychical Research
Yeah.
in Manhattan
With
years
Dr.
ago. We didn't know.
Carla
it.
Sosis
Carla Sosis, that's right.
and Alex Tanhouse, and they're both on the other side now.
Yeah, they are. A lot of these people are. And
And they're helping us decipher this and help others find their way.
Carlos Sosis was cool.
He
He reminded
sounded
me,
like Bela Lugosi.
yeah, and he looked like, if you thought of Peter Cushing,
Yes.
right, or like Doctor Who or one of those actors,
Yes.
you know, it was like that kind of an actor. He was cool. He was really cool. He was
He was,
from,
they
was he
were
from Latvia or something?
something
Yeah,
like that? Yeah.
Yeah, it's a cool
Wonderful
place.
people.
So,
So today,
yeah, so we're going to show some things. We're going to play some things for you. So, how have you been?
I've been good, getting lots of messages. Most of you know that my Scott had passed away in 2002, and when he needs me to pay attention, he turns the hot water on in the shower, and you can see that knob moving. And if I'm in a hurry, I'll say, honey, don't mess around with this today. But today he was really good. He turned the hot water on higher than I had it. I turned it back. I said, look, I need to focus. Let's leave it here for a little while. and you could turn it up after I rinse off that side. And he really listened. The communication was amazing this morning. You know, he left it there, but he kept reminding me, and I know it's because you have a long drive today, you have to pay attention, your cell phone has to be in your pocketbook. And as long as I listen to that guidance, I'm really okay.
Yeah, and I just want to throw something out here because a lot of people ask this question. They get worried about spirits following them home or ghosts following them home or getting possessed or anything. Or some phenomena like this, you think it's great and you know it's Scott, but some other people, oh my God, my
It
house
might
is
terrify
possessed by a demon or something.
I don't believe they do anything to frighten you.
No, I think it's like anything. When you're doing this work or just living your life, if you're looking for dark, you'll get dark. If you're looking for light, stay in the light, you'll get light. Like sometimes I'll feel a dark entity near, like you can feel the zone of
Yes.
energy changes, like we go into a haunted house and like someone was murdered in a room, you can feel that
And the
change.
chills are different than when you have the chills of acknowledging a presence.
Right.
When we lived in that house that threw me up against the wall,
Well, that's
there was one evening, I don't know if we ever talked about this.
No, I don't think
that
so.
my husband was in the living room, the master bedroom, or primary bedroom as we say now, was on the main level, and for whatever reason I was lying down, it must have been late in the evening, and he was still watching TV, and I attempted to get up, and there was a physical dark presence at the foot of my bed. It was hooded, and
That
it
kinda
was a
scary.
very negative presence, and I had no voice. It was total paralysis
What
of my
happened?
voice. And it took everything I had, thinking in my head, screaming in my head, get the blankety blank out of here, get out of here. You cannot hold me down. I don't accept you. And I was just starting at the Institute and, you know, with that professor. And I got out of the bedroom, and we found out from Dr. Osis and Alex that my house was a portal, and a lot of negative energies were coming in.
Yeah,
and
we
had to get out of there.
we were in a house in Huntington Bay. I think it was Huntington Bay, and this mansion was built in the early 1830s.
Yeah.
And the one room where the husband had lived, there was a lot of negativity in that room.
Yeah.
And we had this freak snowstorm come out of nowhere. A squall came off the cove.
While
there.
you were at the property.
At the property, it was blue sky. Then all of a sudden it was whiteout, and the wind was howling, and the shutters on this room were banging. It was like something out of an old haunted house movie.
Right. Alfred
And then-
Hitchcock.
yeah.
Come.
And we couldn't believe it. We were laughing. I got a picture of Carrie Ann. She's wearing her coat, her winter coat, and there's snow everywhere, and her hair is blowing.
Yeah.
And by the time we left, got to the stop sign, which you couldn't even see, it was a whiteout. But by the time we got out of that neighborhood, the sky was blue. The snow had gone away. It was the weirdest thing. It
Yeah.
wasn't. Now I'm not saying that was haunting. That was like a paranormal event, but the timing of it was weird.
Right.
It was like whatever whipped up that energy from the storm took advantage of it and made it even more dramatic in the house.
Yeah. And I believe that if you trust your instincts, and you could always ask your angels for guidance and for protection, always, whatever your belief system is, ask for that higher being to protect you if you feel frightened or that something is near you that's going to hurt you or maybe mislead you or something like that. Because for me, even though I was already on my path, I didn't understand, but I definitely felt a huge difference in the energy of Scott or other beings, you know, like great-great-great-great-grandparents, and whatever that presence was, there was a tremendous difference.
There's a scene in the 1982 movie Poltergeist where Carol Ann's mother, she's on the stairway, and
Yeah.
Carol Ann, of course, got put into the portal on the other side, right? And she feels Carol Ann go through her, and she can smell the daughter's sweater, like you know,
Yeah.
like the baby powder, whatever, and it's like my daughter went through my soul. And what's interesting is we've had that happen. A couple in one of my events
Yeah.
at a farmhouse where they were standing in the the archway between the kitchen and the dining room and the living room, and they felt the father who had passed
The
move
energy.
through their body, because they share the same space. They're just in non-corporeal. So they felt, and they kind of, we smelled it, the air like
You've
pipe
never
tobacco
told me
or
that
something.
before.
Yeah, so we had all kind of smells like perfume, different things,
It's
but
the day that Scott passed, I was called to the hospital. He was in an induced coma. He had esophageal cancer. And his two very close friends that were both RNs and I show up at Winthrop Hospital, and the nurses let me in the room with him, and he's in the process of passing. And I believe I've said this on the show before, but I don't know if you and I ever talked about it. But when he physically, when the essence of him left the physical body, that energy, Joe, pushed me back. I mean, there was a scent there, and it was not an awful scent. It was,
No.
it was him. It was his essence. And then I was pushed back and forward as I knocked this table over, and I knew there was like a shimmering of him over there. And there go the goosebumps again.
Yeah.
For me, it was, of course, heartbreaking because he wasn't here in the physical anymore. But it was, I knew on some level that he would always be guiding me and his daughter until it's time for us to cross over, and he'll be there to help us cross over.
On one of my EVPs, there's an early recording where this woman with a British accent says, English accent, she says, Joe, like, do you still love me? And everybody hears that recording, it was something like that, and everybody hears that recording, it's like, who's that?
Yeah.
So, I mean, we definitely have people from either a previous life cycle, like
Yeah.
reincarnation, or people that are just out there that maybe we met at one time, maybe we don't even remember, maybe it was someone, a childhood friend, or maybe a coworker who passed, or a guy at a bus stop that we smiled and said hello to, good morning. You just don't know. But you wonder, you get these answers. I mean, they are clearly not random, made up. We're imagining something. I mean, there's clear, intelligent response
Definitely.
communication. And we're going to play a few of those today.
And
then we
watch
have-
our old shows. If you go through the LTV archives and find the other shows that Joe is on, and you will hear, and sorry if some of them are repetitive, but some of the most validated, amazing experiences that you have had, that I've had, and that other people that we've worked with.
Yeah, it's a lot of
had.
fun. It's a lot of fun talking
And
to.
it's so wonderful and validating.
Yeah, the people on the other side really want to help us.
Yeah.
They really do. You see all these movies like It's a Wonderful Life. Clarence, the
Yeah.
angel, wants to get his wings. I mean, it's not like that.
What was that,
That's
Field of Dreams?
Field of Dreams. Yeah, I mean, the spirits. They're people, and they passed, and most of them are family members of people we knew, moms and pops, and their moms and pops, and on and on. And so they just want to help us.
And part of the job, I believe, is to help us not be frightened of passing. And we'll talk about it in length at another time,
Yeah,
which
we're
we've
gonna
done,
do, we're
to
gonna
do another
yeah.
show, a few shows
About
on death and
passing.
dying, how our culture looks at it, that people say, well, when I die. No, sweetheart, when people say, if I die.
Somebody said that as soon as
when.
you're born, you're already dying. You
Yeah.
started dying, but it's just,
So let's get to
yeah. So we're going to get
the
to
other
the
yummy
yeah.
stuff.
So all right. So we're going to start with some photographs first. So Phoenix is mentioning spirit photography. So these are some examples of spirit photography. What spirits will show themselves in a photograph. They're quite beautiful, and they're personal ones. The ones I've gotten, some I've never shared. So we'll start off with the first one. Let's see if I have the order
Here we
right.
go.
There, okay, so this is at the Brewster House. It's a historic place, part of the Culper Ring, the Revolutionary War, and so
Yeah.
forth. I'm not going to go into history now. There's plenty on it, and you
Yeah.
could go to one of our book signings or listen to one of our webinars. But you could see all those balls of light all
Oh,
over
my
the room.
goodness, they're all over.
Now, what happened, you're going to hear the Ghost Box recording prior to us going upstairs, where we asked the spirits if they could send some orbs. So Carrie Ann was taking these photos,
Okay.
and all of a sudden, all these orbs showed up, and then they all disappeared. So if you see the photos, the earlier photos and the later
Yeah.
photos, there's nothing in the room. And then all these spirits came in. Look at them. Look. You know how you could know that they're not dust? Carrie-Ann's a professional. She's a trained photographer. But I'll also tell you that these are light anomalies. These are spirit markers, because dust is not transparent.
It didn't.
Yeah,
Definitely not dust.
and these move around.
So do we hear the audio while we look at the picture?
No,
or
we'll play it later.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, so we'll go to the next one. Now, again, this is an example of intelligent communication that is not random. So this fellow Caesar, he was in our ghost investigation. This was actually at the Orient Church. Beautiful old church. And he is into orbs. He really loves orbs. So he decided to try taking a picture by the choir balcony there to see if he'd get an orb. So I decided to take a picture of him taking a picture. And the spirits planted an orb right there in the middle for us.
And what is that by the curtain to the right?
Yeah, I don't know. That might just be reflection. They
reflection?
had some stained glass windows.
Okay,
yeah.
I see.
I know. I've
Okay.
looked at that too. There is other stuff in some of these photos.
What a
but
great orb.
Isn't
And
that
just so
beautiful?
people know, there's no light behind them spotlighting.
No. And again, the orbs are transparent. So if you have an orb and behind it you can see the beam of the wood beam of the roof, or you can see a tree behind it with the branches, you know it's actually not dust.
Yeah.
Okay, and then we'll go to the next one here. Now this is a long view. So this is a Quaker cemetery at Bethpage State Park. I'm going to
Okay.
try to go there again before the weather gets really cold to take the group there. So I don't take a lot of pictures when I go on ghost investigations. You know, you see these professional photographers shooting, like doing a model shoot where they'll take
Yeah.
thousands of photos, you know. I'll take one, wait to see where the spirits lead my camera, and something seemed odd about this picture. I don't know if you could see it, but to the right, out in the background, it looks like the trees bent around, the leaves bend in a circular, like a locket
Yes.
almost, like they're framing someone. All right, so let's go to the zoom in, the next photo. And you can see, there he is. We think this is a Civil War soldier apparition. What I like about this is they actually put a lot of color into this person.
Yeah.
So if you can see him, his body is made of green leaves because that's what they matrix to make the body. His hand is at his side holding a hat in reverence. You see he's wearing some sort of cap, looks like maybe Scottish or Irish, some sort of
Yes.
like a little cap there. He's got a big white beard. And if you were able to zoom in, you would actually see his skin, his face actually has a pink flesh color, which
That
again,
is
you could not
beautiful.
randomly
that is
make that
really
up.
Beautiful.
He also has a gun belt, and he has black trousers. Now, we were there last year, and we were able to get a hold of the pastor who runs the Quaker Meeting House, which they just renovated, just reopened after all these years. And he told me, before I showed him this or talked about it, he told me that there was a Civil War soldier that was buried in that graveyard, which time-wise, these stones are very old, so they don't match the Civil War period.
Yeah.
So it was kind of an odd thing that he was buried there. But that's, and you can see how they bent the leaves around.
I do. That is really awesome.
Okay, we'll go to the next photo. Now, I took a trip a year before with my mom. She's an artist. We went up to Maine for a painting workshop she was in. And this is the Homeport Inn. It is haunted. The second floor room is haunted supposedly by a ghost of an old woman or a woman. And people have seen, heard things. I got orbs. I was in the room below, and I got orbs in the room.
Yeah.
Now, I looked up at the window and noticed there seems to be a woman in a dress
Yep.
that's standing there looking out the window. Now, obviously, it's probably a curtain or something, but the way the lighting reflects off the window, it looks like a woman.
They wanted you to know that
They-
they were
yeah.
there.
So they
And
created
used the
this
curtain
illusion.
And, yeah.
That's right, as sort of a basis for the photography. So that's kind of cool. So very haunted house, very beautiful place too. I love Maine. So,
Maine is great.
Oh, it's
yeah,
great.
My oldest son lives in Maine now.
oh yeah, whereabouts? Is it
It's outside Portland.
Portland? Yeah, yeah.
Somewhere, some
It's-
little town outside
Go,
Portland.
yeah, it's beautiful there.
Yeah. We have more?
Yes, all right, now, I want to prepare the group. All right, so go to the next photo. Okay, so this is a very placid scene. This is the old burying ground in Sag Harbor, the
Okay.
cemetery out there. This was actually during the pandemic. It was really funny because we had to bring like our own we had to isolate.
Okay,
So we even had like a tent that we set up if we had to go in there and do something.
okay.
That you couldn't get in, everything was locked down.
Mm-hmm.
So we went to the cemetery during the pandemic and we did this investigation. We got some ghost box recordings, but we kept getting the sense of someone being, at least one or two people being hung in the cemetery. We even found a tree that we called the hanging tree that looked like it had a branch that went straight out, like you could take a rope and
Yeah.
drop the rope from it and hang someone. Well, that tree wasn't the focal point of our investigation, but we were looking at this tree and all of a sudden a giant crow, like you expect Vincent Price to show
I
up,
love it.
right, in The Raven or something, right? And this crow just landed right on the tree, right in front of us.
They're messengers.
They're messengers. So I did some long
I
shot.
love crows and ravens.
Yeah, me too.
They're so intelligent.
They are, and they're totems. They're foreboders of things. Not necessarily bad either. Just
Oh,
they
no
just
bad.
usually
People think
a
they're
change.
bad
No.
because they are ominous and because of Edgar Allan Poe.
Yeah,
But they're wonderful.
they're
and if
wonderful.
they're
They
in your
they
life,
usually
pay
represent a
attention to them.
change. Yeah.
Yeah, pay attention.
So I took some long shots. Carrie Ann was running a little late, so I just went and took some wide shots at the cemetery. And then something said, "What's going on in that tree there on the left?" So let's zoom in, go to the
Yeah.
next photo, and we found a hung man there.
You sure did.
Now, that gray below him is part of a monument that's in the back. The light through the trees probably created the rest, but you can see he has a green hat with a rim.
Yeah.
He has gray trousers. He's got black shoes kicking up dust right in front of the shoes. His hands are behind his back. He has a blood-stained, tattered
Yes.
shirt. If you look, if you can see it in this photo, there's a rope, a black rope coming down from the tree,
Yes.
and there's a black noose around his neck. He also, it's hard
Oh,
to see,
how
maybe.
heartbreaking.
Isn't that sad? His face is that ghostly white face.
Yes.
There's also, some people have said, there's also looks like another figure or a man is forming on the tree to the right, coming out of the tree. You can see like arms and legs. And he has red hair.
Yeah.
So, yeah, very,
Yeah, but the hanging man is extremely
very,
visible.
that was a real shocker. I showed that to Carrie Ann and she was,
Yeah.
we gotta put this in the book. It was
I
just,
do. Yeah.
so we got our hanging man and we don't know who he is, but someone knows who he is.
And he will let you know in time.
Yeah.
You know, through the voice box.
Yeah,
He
we
will
get,
let you
over
know.
time, we get more information on these
They want us
things
to know that they
Right.
existed.
and what their
and
story is.
what happened to
Yeah,
them.
that's right. We kind of feel that these people were hung, it wasn't right what they did. It was more of a, it was a bad thing, it was an evil thing that happened.
Yeah.
So, and this cemetery has a mixture of Revolutionary War and Civil War, various time periods. In fact, there were a lot of young people that went into these wars, you know, kids that were
Yes.
drafted to go into these wars. And we had some ghost box recordings with kids. It
Yeah,
sounded
and
like
I've
they
done
were.
one of my
early.
first past life regressions, 20-something years ago,
Mhm.
was my friend Susan, and in previous life, she was a young man who was a soldier in the Confederate Army.
That's correct.
And when we got into the past life,
Yeah.
her scene opened up on her deathbed. So we went back
Yeah.
a few days to before the death, and we got names and everything that we validated. Her sergeant really existed.
That's
She
great.
who was a heathen really existed.
Yeah, that's great.
Amazing, amazing
Yeah, sometimes
stuff.
you do come back as a different gender, or
Yes.
you know, you're born in a different family, different country.
Yeah.
Bob,
When they do it's so you gather information in that
Yeah.
lifetime to help you in this lifetime.
that's right.
So
We were just talking about that
she
before
had
the
a health
show.
issues in this lifetime that was present in previous lifetimes that followed her to this one. And
Right.
once she was able to realize in what was happening, she has not had that problem
Yeah,
anymore.
I think part of the reason we come back is to try to work things out, to do
Yeah.
a better job, or maybe just expand our horizons. But I think also sometimes we come back with the same situation over and over again because it's familiar to us. We know what to expect, and it's almost like it's set up like a business plan. You know, you're going to go and
You
you're going
write
to make
this
sales.
contract out.
It's a contract, yeah. Although I still do completely feel that it's our choice whether
Free
to
will. Do I
accept
wanna
the
do it or
contract, do we
not?
want to do this or not, yeah. Now, orbs are very beautiful. We love orbs.
Yeah.
But this is, before we show this next photo, this is a very special situation. So we were at Sundance Stables, which is in Manorville, very haunted place. Becca, their daughter, had died tragically during a horse accident. And we did it was several winters ago, in November, we were going to do like a Christmas kind of a gathering, kind of a group reading. And the family was there, friends were there, and we decided to do this sort of like John Edward Gallery type reading event. Well, we had a blizzard that night, a freak storm, and only 2 of my members from my team could make it there. And one of them, Monica Thomas, she took some photos of North Street as it led up towards the house. Yeah. Now, so the snow, you'll see the picture of the snow falling. Let's go to the next photo. So you could see the snow coming out her car.
Yeah.
And it was just a crazy night. You could see what's interesting about, yes, yeah.
Yeah, you know where I'm going.
Yes, you do. What's interesting about this is that the only light visible is from this house that's way in the distance.
Mm-hmm.
It almost looks like a crutch or like a manger at Christmas, like you'd set
It
up under the
does,
Christmas
yeah.
tree. And hovering above it is an angel.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so go to the next photo. I zoom in on this. And there it
It
is.
is an angel.
Yeah. Isn't that great? That's an orb, but it's in the shape of an angel. And interestingly, Becca has a fundraiser for kids that want to learn how to ride and go
Yes.
go for the Olympics, horse jumping and all the type of things they do with the horses, special competition.
Right.
And their logo is actually Becca on a horse with an angel wings. So
Yeah.
that's just such a cool.
And she's watching out over
Yeah,
everyone.
that was a marker from the spirits that we were heading to a spiritual event.
Yeah.
That we were going to do
Beautiful.
something good with some grace.
Just beautiful.
Isn't that nice?
And
Okay.
that you are given the information to take a photograph at that moment.
That's right, exactly. If she had done it a half a second later, it would have just been snow
And why take a
flurries.
photograph, you know?
That's right.
Why, I'm headed here.
Well, one thing about Monica, yeah, she
She follows her instincts.
does. And again, I have this thing with car horns.
Oh, yeah,
You know
but we
about
can't
that.
go into that.
No, not
because then we won't
today.
show the rest.
No, but they beep. They give me one
Yes,
or two
they
beeps.
do. They answer him
on
yes
cue.
and no.
So someone gets urged in their car, oh, let me honk the horn a couple of times. So it's
Yeah.
that kind of thing. So the angel orb was definitely put there on purpose.
Oh, my goodness,
And Monica,
yes.
as she was drove there, they were getting ready to show her that
Yeah.
picture. Now, all right. Now we're going to go into a couple of ghost box recordings. And
Okay.
again, the ghost box, there are many different types. In the old days, you would have this basically just like, basic digital recorder, a memo recorder.
Uh-huh.
And you would ask the spirits a question and hope that they would put on the ambient noise of the room, the white noise, they would put some voice. So then you would upload this file to the computer, and you would look at it with your sound software to see if there's any voice there, right? The ghost box was invented by, over a period of years, by different people, found that spirits could actually monkey with the static that's between radio stations and the voice of people talking on the air. So let's say someone is saying, tomorrow's going to be a beautiful day, the weatherman, right? He's on the news channel. And then I say to the spirits, what's heaven like? And right then, they will stop the scanner at the word beautiful. So what's heaven like, spirits? Beautiful. And that's what they do. They monkey with the scanner. And so the ghost box has been very effective in having real-time conversations with the other side.
Yeah.
So if you look at some of the devices, like we have the SLS camera, which shows stick figures of the spirit when it moves into the room. You can see where the spirit is. And you've got the real-time audio. I can see a day in 50 years, 100 years, who knows, when you can go into like a holodeck, like in Star Trek.
Yes.
You can run your credit card through, and you can get an image of grandma and maybe some kind of sound equipment to bring
And interact
with her real time with the spirit. I mean, the way that, you might say, wow, that's over the top, that's kind of nutty. You know what? What if I said to you in 1950 that you could press a button and a woman would tell you which way to go to get
Yes.
to your destination, down to the half a foot.
Alexa, Siri, any of them.
Exactly.
Yes.
Well, yeah. So
Henrietta. Oh, and of course I said her name. Whoops. Don't say Alexa because she's.
was that what that voice
Yes.
was? I thought the ghosts were already here. All right. All right. So this first, I just want to set up these ghost box recordings real fast. So the first one is at Longwood, the Smith Estate in Ridge. Okay. And Carrie and I were there investigating. And there's a man in black that I picked up when I first got there, first time ever there. I said to Diane, who's the curator there, I said, who's the man in black on the porch? She said, like, wow, that's the ghost everybody sees. So Carrie Ann is, in this clip, is going to ask, are you the guy that is on the porch? And you get this guy that sounds like he's from the Bronx or Brooklyn. He says, you're talking to him. So that's a ghost spot. That's not, it was just Carrie Ann and I were there, nobody else around. And this comes over the radio, the ghost box radio. But prior to that, I asked the spirits, we're talking about the other side, that these are people on the other side. And they answer me, yeah, other side, like they're responding to what I'm telling Carrie Ann. So we're going to play that clip now.
Do you remain here in the house?
No, they're on the other side. Let me define that. So you're past, obviously. On the other side, you hear it say the other side.
Who is the gentleman that's outside by the front porch?
You're talking to him.
You're talking to.
You're talking to him.
Love
And I
it.
usually repeat back what I hear, just to see if I didn't hear it originally, to see
They've
if it's...
corrected you.
Yeah, they have. Yeah, they do. It's really great. You
It
get that
is.
validation. Now, the next one, I want to put up a slide first of the house we're going to talk about. This is the Brewster House again, where we had the orbs. It's a beautiful structure, isn't
It
it?
is.
Very melancholy place. We went in there, Carrie and I went in there, and the first video clip is us, was it an orb?
Your little thing floating around and right in front of you.
Oh, really?
Here. It's on the book.
Oh, I see it. Oh,
Right
there it
there.
is. It's like a little tumbleweed or something, like a little,
Yeah, we've had a little visitor here in
We
the,
have,
in the
yeah.
studio.
Might be one of your cats who passed, I don't know.
It might
It's
be
very-
Lolita is the latest that passed, yeah.
So we were downstairs, and Carrie Ann wanted to get orbs, at which you saw the orbs. So we're talking to the spirits, and I had the phone camera going, and when I watched this back, I had all these EVPs. You're going to see one clip where I actually say, I think someone just said me, and you're going to see the caption where you'll hear him say me.
Okay.
Then another one where we're talking about the spy ring, and they repeat the ring. So you'll hear this. So the captions on the bottom of this video, I put in to let you know when the spirits are answering us.
Okay.
You have this on recording?
Yeah, I do, yeah.
The orbs?
I'm looking for them. Oh, I just heard someone whisper in my right ear, like me, like that,
Oh, really?
right in my right ear. I felt my eardrum actually vibrate. By the way, I think your father's here.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Caleb?
Okay, I think he's here.
Caleb, are you here with us? Are you happy that we've written about the spy ring?
They just said ring. Did you hear that?
I heard that, yeah. Are you glad this house is preserved? Can you help us get some orbs or phenomenon in the attic?
I think he said okay.
We'd appreciate it so we could include this in another book down the road. Super.
Super.
Okay, so we'll go with your lead. So cool.
Cool, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, and they're referring to Arlington Cemetery, of
Yeah.
course. where a lot of vets are buried. And
Yeah.
so you could see it was a little soft. You might have to play that back and listen to
Yeah.
it, but the answers are definitely there. And yeah, I like when they say cool. Even
Cool.
Carrie Ann had
Yes,
it. The ring.
you had
They
to
said the
laugh.
ring. Again, you just can't make that up.
No.
You know, we were alone in the house. They always let the property owners always let us go in there
Right.
and walk around. Now we went upstairs.
Mm-hmm.
We decided to do an official ghost box recording and actually talk to the spirits, and
Okay.
that'll be this next clip. And again, it's staticky. If you don't hear it, this is best heard with a headset. So if you don't hear somebody, it's okay. It's not perfect. It's not high fidelity.
Right.
They are using noise and static and voice off the radio.
So if somebody watches this show to plug in like earbuds.
Yeah,
And they'll
earbuds.
hear it better.
Yeah, and you
Okay.
can turn up the volume. The next one is a little louder, so I think we'll hear that better.
Okay.
And I put up a transcript of the conversation so you can follow. Okay. So, is there anything you want to tell us about this house as we walk around? Got it. This is where the British sat? We're using the ghost box. Play with the scanner. My name is Joe. What's your name? Robert? Is anyone from the Brewster family here? Is Caleb Brewster here? Amazing orbs upstairs in the attic of the Brewster House. We're done. Yeah. Oh God. Is it that painful? Anybody else have fun?
I love how how you could just really hear how they pull words together.
Yeah, like that last sentence, Caleb lives at his spirit.
Yeah.
That was like maybe 3 or 4 different radio station
Right.
voices talking as it's scanning. And one of the things I do is when I get the recording up to the computer, I'll take out the noise, the dead air. Because I know at this point, with
You've been
all
doing this for so long.
so many years, and I've got so many of these recordings, some of them so clear, some harder to hear. But the thing is, when you've done it, the spirits know, they know what's coming, what we're going to do. So they
Yes.
know when to answer. They know what I'm looking. And when I look at the audio track, which is like a waveform with the decibel levels, on I use Gold Wave with software. It's like Audacity for editing,
Okay.
right? And when I look at it, I could see our voice level here talking, and then Carrie Ann talks. You see the peaks and valleys of the radio wave, the sound file, and then you'll see their
Theirs
voice.
is under,
yeah,
yeah.
you could see it. It just comes out of the noise, which is the white noise, which is really like down at the bottom, and you see the spikes, which is not us talking.
Yeah,
And
because you're quiet at that time.
yeah, we were at the Earl Whiteman house, and Denise, she is the director there, and we were talking about. I asked the spirits if they had anything they want to add about Denise's restoration of the home, and she was talking about how they had to refabricate the original tiles of the shingles on the house.
Yeah.
They had gotten some in, but they weren't right, so now they're going to hand make them. But they had to get permits from the county and the city and the town and everything. So I said, what do you think of the progress she's making? And they said, you're taking too long. So I came to her, Denise's Shepherd's defense, and I said, well, spirits, the bureaucracy, you know how things move slow with government. And then this loud booming voice, it's like an Irish accent, he goes, oh, sure. don't think, yeah, back then, they probably had bureaucracy too, right?
Yes.
Well, we need to move the colonists to,
Right.
up to Virginia. Well, we got to get that. It's going to take a little while to get money from Washington. I could see
Oh,
that.
yeah,
Yeah, George
definitely.
Washington's busy right now. He's rallying the troops, so we really don't have the funds.
It's
I could
so
just see that.
fascinating.
Yeah.
You've heard that. So here we have EVPs. So maybe sometime you'll come to my cottage when Scott speaks, because people have come to my home that know nothing about Scott. They'll come as a guest of someone else
Right.
coming to my home, and they know nothing other than with their friend they're going to go visit this lady Phoenix, have coffee, and maybe all go out to dinner or something. And on different occasions, I have had someone, Bonnie and Tracy's friend from Henderson, Nevada, was with them one
That's
night.
really weird because right before you started to tell that story, I was thinking of Las Vegas.
And here he is. So this very nice gentleman was having some issues, and they asked if I could do Reiki for him before, we ate and this and that, the other thing. He knows nothing about me other than I'm a Reiki master teacher and I'm a friend of these two lovely people. So we're in the house, we have a little bite to eat, and then we did some Reiki, another little bite to eat. And this beautiful ring is the last ring that Scott gave me.
Yeah, it was really gorgeous.
And after he passed, I gained a tremendous amount of weight, close to 100 pounds. So the ring sat in my box. I did have it sized because at a reading with Josephine Garangelli,
I like Josephine.
he said to her, she looks at me, she goes, he wants to know why you're not wearing the ring. I said, my fingers are too fat. She said, he said, size it.
What's that mean? Make
Make it
larger?
bigger or
Oh,
smaller.
okay, got it.
So I wasn't accustomed to wearing it all the time, but it means everything. Not everything, it means a lot to me. So the ring was not on, and this gentleman friend of my buddies said, can I say something to you? And just go ahead. He said, there's a male presence in here. And I said, yes. And he said, he wants to know why you're not wearing the ring. I said, be right back. Went in, got the ring on. And another time, Steve from Green Earth Grocer, this goes back a number of years, a friend of his came to my house to do a chakra illumination and some soul travel. The man knew zero about me other than I'm a good friend of Steve's. He's like my brother. This man was in tremendous emotional pain, and he was leaving for Utah the next day. I said, let him come to the house. Came to the house. I did the chakra illumination, sent him out on soul travel. When I pulled him back in, let him rest, he sits up. His eyes are bugging out of his head, and he said, I have to get you something. There's a man here. There's a man here. And I said, yes, I know. He said, why didn't you tell me? I said, because not everybody is aware of it. He runs out to his car, and he comes back in with this beautiful white feather that has a black edge.
Oh.
And I'm sitting there like, okay. And he said, he was so shaken. He said, he told me to give this to you because I didn't know why I had it, why I picked it up, but I have to give this to you. And I said, it makes sense. I said, I'll explain to you. This is my fiance, blah, 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 passed away 2002, esophageal cancer. And he's always with me, and he does really silly things often. And I said, in this lifetime, I am white-skinned, he was black-skinned.
Yeah, I was going to ask, is the Reiki, did that start with Native American culture?
No, Reiki is Japanese, Dr.
Japanese?
Sui.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because I was...
But a lot of the work I do is also connected to indigenous, to the
Yeah.
first people here, to the First Nations.
Right, yeah, because
here,
I'm,
and I
I'm
have-
getting that around you now. And,
It's and I've made some
feather is-
amazing, beautiful friends from the reservation. A wonderful woman and her grandson. And when she first came to me very early this year, I was talking about my mentor who had passed away, Ron Boyd, who is, I adore him. He's in heaven and I adore him. And I know he and Scott are hanging out, getting into mischief. And I said something, well, my mentor, and I said his name, and she said, Ronald Boyd, Riverhead, that was my cousin. So he, from the other side, put the two of us together so I could help his...
Yeah, and that happened
his
with me,
cousin.
with Jeff Frank. From,
Yes.
Remember the Lyceum, or the nature, right, the organic
it's
farming?
It's so
He-
amazing how they do that.
Yeah, he was at, we were at the Sound Avenue Grange, right?
Yeah.
First Parish Church, Diane Rodriguez, right?
Yes.
And Jeff Frank was part of that, and he did the green gorillas and all, he had the magic wand to wave with the good energy.
Do you know that's where I do my Reiki circle now?
I didn't know that.
At
Oh,
the
I got to
range.
come to that. I've got to come after the
It's
holiday.
going to be the day before Halloween. You must come to that
Oh,
one.
God. All right, we'll talk after
Yes.
about the dates.
So whenever this airs, October 30th, 2022, 3 p.m. at the Long Island Buddhist Meditation Center on Sound Avenue. Contact me if you'd like to join us for the Reiki Healing Circle.
Yeah.
We do a meditation, of course, because it's the day before Samhain. Before Halloween, we're going to have goodies. And please wear a costume.
Yeah.
And
That's
the
great.
monks the monks just adopted a little black kitten, and his name
They're
is
cool. They're really
his name
cool,
is
yeah.
Prince Om, and I thank them. I am so grateful and so blessed that
I
they
am
opened
too.
their doors to
I am
us
too.
to let us do the Reiki circle there,
too.
and the energy there is beautiful.
It is
Bhante Nanda is an amazing, golden-hearted man.
It is, yeah. They are beautiful people, and again, I remember Jeff, because what you were saying about how they help others. We all help each other without knowing it.
Yes.
Because Jeff, I went to my hairstylist in Hampton Bays at the time. She referred me to a client in Southampton to do a reading. Her family to do the reading was in West Hampton Beach, so now we're 3 towns removed. Jeff was up in the north, in Riverhead and Aquabog, up that way. And when I did the reading for the father who passed at the end, I brought him through and everything, and I knew his name was Jeff. They told me, but I said, we were having cake and coffee, and the daughters came sat with me and said, our father was really great. He really loved his green gorillas.
Isn't that awesome?
And I said, is this Jeff Frank? And he says, yeah, you know him? And Jeff, it took him 1.5 years to get everyone aligned
Together.
so that I could be led to his family, so I could read his family to bring him through to let them know he was okay.
It's amazing.
You cannot make that up.
Many, many years ago in the 1980s, I had 2 kitties, Bagels and Locks. Go figure
I like that.
Big surprise. Bagels was a one-eyed black kitty, and Locks was an orange kitty, and
that's
he was a
cool.
little slow. So 5 years ago, I have no intention of getting any more cats. I had Lolita and Bella, and I was fine. And a friend of mine, we were going to meet some other friends from ages ago in Panera in Hampton Bays next door to Petco.
Mm-hmm.
She said, meet me in the lobby of Petco. I'm fine. I could do Reiki on kitties there and not want to bring anyone home. And I hear this voice. I'm very frightened. You have to take me home. So I look for the human to give the message to, because I know it's not me. Ha, ha, ha. I'm all alone in the lobby. And I look, and there's this orange kitty. And I just knew it. It was instant. I said to the girl inside, blah, 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 I'll be back tomorrow. She said, it's him. His name is Oliver. And I knew of no connection yet with Locks. Make a very long story, very short. I come back the next day with my friend Michelle, who is now in heaven also. And I put him in my arms, and he was so terrified that he made himself so tiny that when they took him out of the cage, this huge orange, you saw his picture, boy is in my arms, but there's blood all over my shirt.
Oh.
So we take him to Dr. Molnar, who
Right.
took care of the RSVP kitties.
Right.
And it was pododermatitis, which is an autoimmune disorder. So he takes care of him, so he leaves him there, and I could pick him up in a week. And I asked him, could I come back tomorrow with like a teddy bear from the house, get him used to the scent? So as I'm driving up 24, headed to the North Fork, I hear, as clear as us sitting here, don't you recognize me? It's Locks.
Oh, that's cool.
And I start crying because my ex-husband took Locks, and I don't know what he did with him, and I'm not capable of knowing. It would destroy me to know whatever he did to that poor baby. But here he is, reincarnated. So when I finally get him home, how they validate to you that they've been with you before.
Mm-hmm.
So my son Jonathan was very little. He's going to be 42 this month.
Oh, my
He
God.
was a little guy,
Yeah.
and he couldn't say nostrils. He called your nostrils nozzles. And Locks had this habit. He would put his paws around your neck, and he would try to take his little pink nose with freckles on it and stick it in your nose. So the kids used to call him Locks the Nozzle Nuzzler.
That's cool.
So for the first 3 months that I had Oliver home, he would put his paws around my neck and try to stick his nose in my nostrils.
Sounds like a similar behavior.
It was. And then once I said to him, I've got it, he stopped. We have 1 minute left. How do we get in touch with you again, my love?
Yeah, go to my website, joegpi.com. And also check out Carrie Ann's website, carrieannflanaganbrasky.com.
Yeah, you wanna hold it?
Yeah. And that's, I don't know if you can see that.
The
Carrie Ann
latest book?
Yeah, Haunted Long Island Mystery. We're going to be doing book signings all month, and I am doing some private events. If you want, go to my website. You could send me a request. You want more information, or you want to reserve. Thank you. And thank you for bringing me on here.
Oh, I love when you're with me. And also, if you have phenomena happening in your home, please write Joe a note or give him a call. Contact him, and he could help you figure out what's going on. And if you want someone to do the house blessing, call me. I'll do that, and you could come along, and we
Yeah.
could bless them. And if they're meant to go on their way, to go on their way into the light.
Sounds good.
You know, beautifully. And you all know how to get a hold of me. And I thank you all so much for supporting the show and for stopping me in parking lots, grocery stores, and wherever I am saying, hey, you, I know you. You're.
You've had that happen, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
recently. And the gentleman asked for Joe recently, and I said, how funny, we're doing a show next
Yeah,
Monday.
thank you, everybody,
So,
for
thank you, and
listening
thank
to
you
us and
everyone at
watching us and-
LTV for always being so wonderful and so kind to us. So, to close today, let's all close our eyes. Take a nice deep breath in, and picture above your head a beautiful golden star. That's your soul star. And just envision it shimmering down, beautiful tiny golden stars of positive energy, unconditional love, light, and blessings. Breathe that in and breathe it out. It's in you, around you. Bless you all. Namaste.